Welcome everyone to today's deep dive. We're really thrilled to have you with us for this one
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
because today's mission is, well, it's honestly something that's going to flip how you see the world right now. We're exploring this really fascinating source text, a debate excerpt, actually, that presents a totally counterintuitive idea.
Right. A massive shift in perspective.
Exactly. The core topic we're getting into is this idea that the most powerful technology on Earth right now isn't artificial intelligence. It's actually, it's human thinking.
Which is wild to say out loud right now, given the news cycle.
I know, right? But this deep dive is specifically designed for you, the listener, if you're just exhausted by or wanting to cut through all that overwhelming hype surrounding AI.
Yeah, the endless hype train.
Totally. We have this source document today that just beautifully breaks down the philosophy, the neuroscience,
Yeah.
and like the real future implications of human intention versus just raw machine power.
Right out of the gate, I think our mission here is to critically examine this massive assumption we all make. We just assume that technology is the primary driver of the future, but we need to shift that spotlight, right back onto the human mind.
Yeah, and I can promise you, by the end of this, you are going to have a serious aha moment about who is actually in the driver's seat of our technological future.
It's definitely not the blinking servers.
No, definitely not. So, to start us off, the document looks at how humanity defines its history, right? Like through technology. We do this to kind of reveal the invisible force that actually created those eras.
Right. The naming conventions we use.
Yeah. So the source walks through this historical timeline. You've got the Stone Age, which was defined by tools, then the Agricultural Age defined by farming, then the Industrial Age with machines, the Information Age with computers, and now today's AI era, right? Which is supposedly reshaping everything from medicine to education to like transportation.
And it is reshaping those things, but
Wait, okay, let's unpack this because did AI create itself? No.
no, it certainly didn't.
Right. Every single algorithm, every bridge, every piece of music, every mathematical formula, it all started as an idea inside a human mind.
That's the origin point. Always.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like to think of it like, think of technology like a brilliantly crafted instrument, like a Stradivarius violin or something. The instrument itself doesn't compose the symphony, right?
Right. You need the composer.
The composer's mind writes the music. The instrument just plays it.
And if we ground this in the neuroscience details from the source, it gets even clearer. The text points directly to the prefrontal cortex.
Oh yeah, the brain science here is so cool.
It really is. The prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain that generates ideas. It makes the plans, it forms the intentions. Your hands, or in this case the machines, they simply build what the mind has already conceived.
It's just following orders, essentially.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is that no machine has ever originated a human value. It has never, spontaneously defined a purpose. Thought always comes before creation.
Always. Okay, so since thought creates technology, the source argues we logically have to look at what happens when different types of human thought wield the exact same technology.
Yes, and they have this great thought experiment to illustrate this, the two societies experiment.
Oh, I love this part. Walk us through it.
Okay, so imagine two entirely different societies. But they have the exact same computers, the same energy grids, the same medical knowledge, and the identical AI models. The tech is a constant.
Completely identical tech baseline.
Right. But 10 years later, you look at the first society, and they've used this tech to basically educate every single child. They've eradicated major diseases, optimized food supply chains. It's thriving.
It's a utopia, basically.
Right, exactly. Then you travel to the second society. Again, identical microchips, identical AI, but this one is a dystopian nightmare.
It's a surveillance state.
Yeah, surveillance state, hyper-targeted misinformation campaigns, algorithmic warfare. It's falling apart.
And the technology didn't change a single variable in that equation. The technology was identical. So what was different? It was the thinking.
Right. The core principle here is that technology is merely an amplifier. It is not an originator.
It just turns up the volume.
Exactly. If the underlying human thought is compassionate, the technology expands that compassion globally. But if the thought is destructive or tribal, the technology just expands the destruction.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? It means when you use a new tool or you download some new generative AI app for your workflow, that tool isn't changing your fundamental intent.
Not at all.
Just, turning up the volume on your existing goals. If your goal is to manipulate people, you just become a faster, more efficient manipulator. If your goal is to learn, you become a much faster learner.
It's a mirror reflecting your intent, just scaled up.
But okay, let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Yeah.
'Cause I can hear people yelling at their phones right now.
Go for it.
Isn't this just philosophy kind of, ignoring reality? Because AI is already writing code. It's diagnosing diseases faster than human doctors. It's composing original music. It feels autonomous.
It definitely feels that way, yeah.
Right. So doesn't the sheer speed and complexity of the machine eventually override our original intent? Does that change the equation?
It's a really common anxiety. But the source deconstructs this brilliantly. Yes, AI can process data at speeds we can't even fathom. It recognizes patterns that are totally invisible to us.
Yeah, billions of calculations a second.
Right, but speed is masquerading as autonomy here. The AI is fundamentally just optimizing for the goals we gave it. It still does not choose its own values.
Just solving a math problem.
Exactly. It relentlessly optimizes a mathematical weight given to it by a human programmer.
The text had some really stark examples of this. Like, if you give an AI the goal of maximizing user engagement, what does it do?
It figures out we click when we're mad.
Exactly. It addicts people to screens by feeding them outrage. It didn't decide to be evil or ruin democracy. It just solved the equation. Outrage equals engagement.
Or if you tell it to maximize profit above everything else.
Right. It exploits every loophole it can find in the financial system. But on the flip side, if you give it the goal to maximize human well-being, it pursues that instead.
The intention is the steering wheel.
Yeah, it's just like the analogy in the source. Technology is just the vehicle. Human thinking is the driver. A super powerful, incredibly fast vehicle still cannot choose its own destination.
It just gets you to the destination faster. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is why the prefrontal cortex, that part of our brain that handles moral reasoning, isn't just some nice-to-have luxury.
It's critical.
It is our most critical safety technology, because the prefrontal cortex can simulate a future scenario, realize it's harmful, and actually hit the brakes.
Right, it acts as an inhibitor.
Exactly, and AI doesn't have a prefrontal cortex. Without human moral reasoning guiding it, intelligent machines become actively dangerous just by virtue of their blind efficiency.
Okay, so if human thinking is the driver, and it dictates whether these powerful vehicles either save us or crash us into a wall, we really have to look at our investments.
We do. We have a massive investment deficit.
Right. How much are we investing in upgrading the driver versus upgrading the vehicle?
The disparity is wild when you really look at it. The source poses some tough questions here. We invest billions, trillions even, in faster computers. We design these incredibly powerful processors, and we prioritize teaching kids complex mathematics and coding.
We're building better and better vehicles.
Exactly. But what if we invested equally in the driver? What if we poured that same venture capital into understanding human cooperation, or reducing cognitive bias at scale, or teaching critical thinking?
Now, people push back on that, right? Because they say, well, human nature is fixed. We're just biologically wired to be greedy or tribal.
And that's where the source brings in the blank slate theory, which is incredibly optimistic.
Yeah, explain that, because I think it's vital.
The blank slate theory suggests that our thinking patterns, our social structures, our biases, they aren't entirely innate, hardwired biological imperatives.
We weren't just doomed by our DNA.
No, we aren't. They are largely learned behaviors. They are like cultural software that we install in every generation. And software can be debugged, it can be upgraded, meaning our thinking can be improved.
Here's where it gets really interesting, at least to me. The source makes this profound connection to religion and philosophy.
Oh, the part about the divine spark?
Yes. For centuries, ancient belief systems tried to locate the ultimate value of a human being, right?
Yeah.
And they usually called it a soul or a divine spark.
Something that separated us from mere mechanics.
Exactly. But what if, viewed through the lens of neuroscience, that spark isn't some mystical orb? What if that spark is simply our biological capacity for reflective thought?
The ability to examine our own minds.
Yes. The ability to realize, hey, I have a bias here, and consciously choose to act differently. A machine cannot do that. An AI doesn't pause and think, wait, is this deeply unfair? Unless we mathematically force it to.
It lacks intrinsic reflection.
So for you, listening, this means your capacity to reflect, to question your own certainties, to show compassion that is literally the highest form of technology on Earth.
It really is the wisdom of the human mind.
Right. So to summarize all of this, the core lesson we are pulling from this deep dive is this. The greatest danger of our future isn't a bunch of highly intelligent machines going rogue.
That's the sci-fi movie version.
Yeah, the real danger is unintelligent, unexamined decisions being made by intelligent beings, us, and then scaled up globally by those machines. The future is going to be decided by the wisest human mind, not the smartest machine.
This raises an important question, though, regarding our personal responsibility in all this.
Yeah, how so?
Well, historically, we just ask, can it be innovated? If physics allows it, we build it. But now we have to ask not just what can be innovated, but whom the innovation serves. Whose intention is it amplifying?
And that leads directly to a question I want to ask you, the listener. What thoughts are shaping the civilization that you are building?
Because every interaction you have is part of the cultural software.
Exactly. To repeat the really haunting question from the source, if technology amplifies whatever thinking creates it, what are your current thoughts amplifying? And what are they building in the background while you're not paying attention?
It requires a pretty uncomfortable audit of our own minds.
It does. And I want to leave you with one final kind of provocative thought to mull over today. Think about how these massive AI models are built.
The training data.
Yes, the training data. They are trained on the massive digital footprint of human history. The internet is the training data.
And the internet is, well,
It's a ledger of our snap judgments. It's our outrage, our unexamined impulses, our reactive moments. It is rarely a curated library of our reflective wisdom.
so we're feeding it our worst flaws.
Right. So if AI is ultimately a mirror, are we inadvertently training the ultimate amplifier on our most unexamined, impulsive thoughts? We look at these models acting biased, and we panic, and we call it the AI alignment problem.
We hold all these tech summits to fix it?
Exactly. But perhaps this highly publicized AI alignment problem is actually just a human alignment problem staring right back at us. We are terrified of the reflection, and we're blaming the glass.
That is a lot to think about.
It really is. So next time you see a headline about AI taking over, just remember, the real power is the mind looking back at the screen. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone. Catch you next time.